Well, I would like to welcome everyone to today's meeting of full council. And please be patient. This is the first time I've been in this chair. And actually, it's the first time I've been in full council in almost 2 years. So maybe it should be me that be welcome back. But so I'll just pass you over now to the Chief Executive for the role.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Good afternoon, members. To all members of Derry City and Strabane District Council, you're hereby summoned to attend the monthly meeting of the Council, which will be a hybrid meeting conducted remotely via WebEx and physically here in the Council Chamber, Guildhall, Wednesday, the 25th of January at 2:05 p.m. Alderman Breslin.
Here, John.
Alderman Devaney.
Here, John.
Alderman Guy.
Apologies.
Alderman Hussey. Alderman Carrigan.
Here, John.
Alderman McCready.
Here.
Alderman McMorris.
Here, John.
Alderman Thompson.
An apology, John.
Alderman Wark. Councillor Jason Barr.
Here, John.
Councillor Raymond Barr.
Here, John.
Councillor John Boyle.
Online for now.
Councillor Michaela Boyle. Councillor Carr. Councillor Cusick.
Here, John.
Councillor Dobbins.
Here, John.
Councillor Donnelly. Councillor Doyle.
Here, John.
Councillor Alex Duffy.
Shaw.
Councillor Sandra Duffy, apologies. Councillor Edwards.
And John.
Councillor Farrell.
Here.
Councillor Ferguson.
Here, John.
Councillor Gallagher.
And Shaw.
Councillor Harkin. Councillor Heaney.
Shaw.
Councillor Jackson.
Shaw.
Councillor Kelly.
And Shaw.
Councillor Logue. Councillor McGinley.
Shaw.
Councillor McGowan. Councillor McGuire. Councillor McHugh.
John.
Councillor McKinney.
Here, John.
Councillor Mooney. Councillor Norris.
Here, John.
Councillor O'Neill. Councillor Riley. Councillor Senoy Barr.
Apologies, and I'm here.
Thank you, Councillor Tierney. Thank you, members. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you for that, John. Right, guys, the webcasting, broadcasting notice. I would like to remind everyone present at this meeting in the chamber, Strabane or in attendance remotely, that this meeting will be broadcast live to the internet and will be capable of repeated viewing. This broadcast may be terminated or suspended in accordance with our protocol. Due to your attendance at this meeting, you are consenting at being filmed and to the use and storage of those images for broadcasting or training purposes and for the purpose of keeping historical records and making those records available to the public. Members and approved speakers are reminded to only have their mics and cameras on while speaking at the meeting and to use the chat facility to highlight a request to speak. A copy of the council privacy notice may be found on the council website at www.derrystrabane.com. Thank you. Now, are there any declarations of members' interests? Councillor Ferguson.
Chair, just want to declare on Councillor Duffy's motion, I'm a member of the EA board.
Duly noted, Rachel, thank you. Now, for chairperson's business, I have, and the mayor has been requested. We have 5 people have requested in the time allowed to speak. That is Councillors Doyle, McKinney, Philip McKinney, Councillors Norris and Emma McGinley, and Councillor Jackson. So in that order, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and welcome back. I'll keep this very brief. Over the last number of months, the residents of Racecourse Drive in my DA, also known as Christmas Drive, have raised £12,459.98, which is a humongous amount of money for the neonatal unit at Altnagalvin and Foyle Food Bank. The 24 families who live in what is a very small street, you'll know it yourself, Deputy Mayor, have brought joy to many families at their own expense in many ways, in terms of lighting up the area and asking the city to come down and share in that joy. They've done that off their own bat, and I think that it's a testament to the spirit of our citizens, especially during very dark times for many. All I wanted to do was to say that, to highlight this, to say that it's absolutely fantastic, and to ask, with your indulgence, if the Mayor would hold a reception for the families on behalf of all of us in the City and District to say thank you for the tremendous work that they've been doing over the last number of years. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Doyle, and I am sure, as the Mayor has been down there on a few occasions, as myself as well, it is an RDEA, and I agree with you that the joy that was brought throughout the city, despite a bout of vandalism, they came through it and they came tops with regard to that. They've overcome that. Councillor Doyle, whilst I do accept that on the Mayor's behalf, there is a protocol, and if you just put that in writing to the Secretary, Karen Henderson, with that request, I'm sure it will not be overlooked and it will be agreed to. Councillor Jackson?
Yeah, I just echo those thoughts. I know the residents of Christmas Drive have, I suppose, gained a reputation for the displays that have been put on, and crowds are attracted not only from Ballyarnett DEA but from right across our city and district and beyond. So it is something that as a city we're proud of the displays that are put on by those residents who, as Councillor Doyle has outlined off their own bat, have organised and in many cases in their own expense, have organised and put the displays on for the benefit of everybody else. I have no doubt that the Mayor would look positively and welcome a Mayor's reception for the residents. I know the Mayor has made a significant donation towards Christmas lights and supporting the residents on Christmas Drive. They add to the displays this year, so this, as a follow-on from that, I have no doubt that she would welcome the opportunity to host a reception for those residents. So, but I just want to again highlight, thank Councillor Doyle for bringing it to the Council's attention today. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Councillor Tierney?
Deputy Mayor, thank you. And just on behalf of our group, they fully endorse everything that's been said by the previous speakers. I know many of the residents at Christmas Drive, and I know they're currently looking into officially changing the name of the street to Christmas Drive. And I think that's something that will be quite fitting for the area. As you've said, Deputy Mayor, this year in particular, some of the decorations have unfortunately been vandalised. But that didn't stop the residents down there, and it didn't, from putting on a great show for people from right across this city and district. I think, being a councillor in the Ballyarnett DA and not living too far away from Christmas Drive, it definitely puts a bit of cheer in our local area around Christmas when you see the numbers of people who are travelling down from right across the city to see the decorations. And as Councillor Doyle has outlined, this is all done on the goodwill of local residents with a little bit of organisation and trying to get prepared. And the result being a phenomenal amount of money raised for two very worthwhile local charities. I've already been speaking to the residents down there, and offered our support and congratulations to them. But I think it would be fitting if the Mayor, on behalf of Council, was to recognise that. And I think it would, particularly this year, given the vandalism and stuff, it would hopefully spur them on in their plans for the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tierney. Alderman Wark.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and once again, well done to the residents, the 24 houses there at Christmas Drive. I think far and wide now, everybody knows it as Christmas Drive. It is obviously maybe not on the side there, but far and wide we all know it's the name of that street. And for two really good charities, once again, the residents there have put a lot of joy into kids' hearts. One of the highlights here now in the city of the Christmas period. I was lucky enough to be back down with my wee son again, and the joy it brings there. But many well dones to all the residents there of the street, and I'm sure the Mayor will do a reception for the residents there. And well done, everyone, and we look forward to 2023.
You, Alderman. No further speakers. Next on the list, Councillor Philip McKinney.
Thank you, Deputy Chair, for allowing me to speak on this week, which is Holocaust Week. I just wish to remind everybody in the chamber here, and I would ask that Deputy Mayor, you allow the Council to hold a minute's silence to remember all those that have been perished through acts of genocide since the Second World War. And this is China, Rwanda, Cambodia, Bosnia, and Darfur. Perhaps we would permit that before we get into today's business. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor, Councillor John Boyle here. I second Councillor McKinney's proposal.
Thank you, Councillor Boyle. Thank you, Councillor McKinney, for bringing that forward. And Alderman Morris-Devaney.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, for allowing me in. It was on the previous item and around the issue and around Christmas Drive. And I just want to join with all the rest of the members who have spoken on it. And it's well known, the charitable work, the good work that comes out of all that work. And let me tell you, when you look at Christmas Drive, it takes a lot of time and effort and money to do it every year. And I have to say, well done to everyone. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Deputy Mayor.
Sorry about that, Alderman Devaney. You've only just popped up on my screen, but anyone else with regard to Councillor McKinney? Councillor Dodd.
Chair, thank you. No, I have no issues with it, and I think it should be done. But I also include in that list, and it's pre-Second World War and Gordon Moore, what some people would call, wrongly call the Irish famine, which in my opinion was also a genocide. Thank you.
Yeah, Councillor McKinney's happy with that, so we'll need a vote then.
Yeah, it is a proposal.
So there is a proposal on the table there, and an obvious amendment. So
Second amendment, Chair.
thank you, Councillor Gallagher, which has been seconded. So on the amendment, can we Teresa's going to type it up there so that everybody can see what they're voting on. Okay, folks, that's the proposal in front of you. So if we can have our chief executive to go through the list there. Folks, if people are content with the proposal in front of us, any discerning voices? Councillor Hussey?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The initial proposal is with regard to genocides that have occurred since World War II. As I understand Councillor Donnelly's position, if we wished, I mean, I could include the 1641 massacre of Protestants in Ireland and many other events. To accept this amendment denigrates, to my opinion, the initial proposal, and I will not be supporting the amendment.
Thank you, Alderman Hussey. Right, folks, we have to go through the roll here. So we are dealing with...
Deputy Mayor, I have my name in the chat box.
Sorry about that, Alderman Devaney. Go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, for allowing me in. And look, the first part, like a previous speaker, the first part of the motion proposal, I have no problem with. And you know, the proposer of the amendment did say that it wasn't a famine. You know, called it a genocide. Look, we all know the history of the famine. Not a good time for anyone living at that time. But Deputy Mayor, like everyone else, we could not support the amendment. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Devaney, and apologies for that. So we're going to hand you over to Chief Executive.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Members on the amendment, Alderman Breslin.
The first bit of for.
On the amendment, Alderman Breslin.
For.
Alderman Devaney.
Against, John.
Alderman Hussey.
Against.
Alderman Carrigan.
Against, John.
Alderman McCready. Alderman McMorris.
Against, John.
Alderman Wark. Councillor Jason Barr. Councillor Raymond Barr.
For.
Councillor John Boyle.
For.
Councillor Carr. Councillor Cusick. Councillor Dobbins. Councillor Donnelly. Councillor Doyle. Councillor Alex Duffy.
For.
Councillor Edwards. Councillor Farrell.
For.
Councillor Ferguson.
For.
Councillor Gallagher.
For.
Councillor Harkin. Councillor Heaney.
For.
Councillor Jackson.
For.
Councillor Kelly.
For.
Councillor Logue. Councillor McGinley.
For.
Councillor McHugh. Councillor McKinney.
For.
Councillor Mooney. Councillor Norris.
For.
Councillor O'Neill. Councillor Riley.
For.
Councillor Tierney. Thank you, members.
Through the chair, could I change mine to against?
Thank you, Alderman Breslin.
John, can you hear me?
I can now, Councillor Michaela Boyle.
It's Michaela, yeah. John, I'm online. I'm for. I'm having some technical difficulties here with the audio, so just to let you know.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other members before I count? Thank you, members. Deputy Mayor, I've recorded 28 for the amendment and 5 against, so the amendment is carried.
Thank you, Chief Executive. So the amendment now becomes the substantive motive. Philip, you're looking to come in?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and it'll be very short. I can't understand why there's people within this chamber and, should I say, the remote chamber as well, who really have pushed to make this into a political debate. You know, if they felt so strongly about the amendment on the, why did they not then come and amend again and talk about the Scottish land clearances? And I should also point out that what happened with the famine was hit both Protestant and Catholic families. So to make it a political statement is absolutely ludicrous, and they should hang their heads in shame. Thank you.
100% agree with you there. Right, folks, substantive.
Further amendment.
Right, I'll let you in. Go ahead.
To propose a further amendment, Madam Deputy Mayor. Reading, mindful of how close our society came to a genocide during the so-called Troubles, we also condemned the attempted genocide of Protestants along the Fermanagh and Tyrone border by Republican terrorists.
Happy to second it, Deputy Mayor, Alderman Kerrigan.
Right, folks, at the end of the day, we're going to have every atrocity across the board. So, you know, like we can be here at 6 o'clock naming everything, which I think is a total shame. Councillor McKinney.
Look, I'm totally disgusted this is becoming a political debate, really. It's a case of them and us and him and them, and we do this, we do that. You know, it's the old blame game again. And I just wish to God that the politics would get taken out of it and let's concentrate on the atrocities that were carried out and that have been put on up for the motion. Thank you.
Yeah, there is a proposal which has been seconded. Councillor Cusack, I'm going to let you in.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Deputy Mayor, just to make it known that if it continues like this, I'm abstaining, and it's no disrespect to the original motion or the original amendment to the motion. As you so rightly stated, it's going to go down that avenue, tit for tat, and I feel for everybody who's been a victim of war, troubles, genocide, and everything that we've experienced here in this troubled part of the world. So, you know, it's going to get ridiculous, and the people out there, the public listening to this, will go, here we go again. They're there to discuss the business that affects us in this council area, and here we are, you know, green and orange, us and them. It's disgusting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cusack. Go ahead, Sean.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Look, I want to welcome Councillor McKinney's original motion, and I think that Councillor Donnelly is absolutely within his right and within our right to add in the Great Hunger. It shouldn't be an issue. I feel very determined now, as somebody who has a Jewish partner and who celebrates Jewish cultural traditions, that we have a minute's silence to remember the victims of the Holocaust, because it is still, and it still remains, a pivotal moment in human history, one that we should say over and over again, never again. And unfortunately, there are many people who want to take us back in that direction or repeat it. We should say, look, we stand in solidarity with people, all people who faced genocide, all people who faced attempts to annihilate them. But I would also urge, if Alderman Hussey wants to stick with his amendment, that people reject it, because this is just, I think it is toxic, and it takes us in the direction that does disservice to the memory of all those people who perished through the Holocaust and in other genocidal wars.
Thank you, Councillor. Online, Councillor Alderman McCready.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. I suppose there's a couple of lessons here. suppose the first observation I have is an impromptu motion generally leads to this type of debate because it hasn't been presented early enough so people can read papers and do some research or maybe think about amendments in due course. So something as significant as what's being discussed here, whether that be the International Holocaust Week, the famine in Ireland, the genocide and the atrocities, then put it into one substantial motion and present it to councillors, and then it wouldn't have to go down this road. And I take exception to a number of points of tit for tat. Certainly not. The famine deeply reprehensible. There's absolutely no excuse whatsoever and a full stop. But to try and piggyback off motion after amendment, and it leads to no end. So yes, it is troubling. It's disturbing that we're having to go through this type of cycle. But yet to call each other's or people's perspectives ridiculous is a point disingenuous. We're all elected. We've all got something to say, and we represent lots of people out there. And so my point is, if we start abstaining now, or why not abstain after the first one or the First Amendment? It's open a real can of worms here. And Madam Deputy Mayor, you accepted this motion. It was seconded, but it's an impromptu one, and it wasn't part of the agenda item. So of course it's going to be all over the place, and that's the nature of what we're in. And I'm all up for open it. They sit here and chat to midnight tonight on any important issues that people want to present, because they're all elected, they've all got seats. But to turn around and try and say that one person's is more to be received than others is very disingenuous. I think this is getting slightly toxic to a point where I'm embarrassed to be in a chamber now. We've been down this type of road, but I'm here and I'll see what happens. Thanks for letting me speak, Madam Deputy Mayor.
Okay, Alderman McCready. Councillor Tierney.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And I said it during one of the committees earlier this month, but it is clear to see that we're in election season. And for me, this amendment will not be supported by the SDLP. We are more than happy to support the original, and it was seconded by Councillor John Boyle, and the first amendment by Councillor Donnelly. I have no issue whatsoever in saying that I absolutely condemn the attempted genocide of Protestants along the Fermanagh and Tyrone border by Republican terrorists. But I also fundamentally condemn the attempted genocide of Catholics across the north by loyalist and British terrorists. And I find it absolutely appalling that anybody would want to bring in and talk about victims of the conflict this weekend and not include
Deputy Mayor, I've lost sound.
have been front and centre at all times condemning the death of anyone by terrorists or by people who portray themselves to be from an army. But we will not allow anybody to split or cause division between the unfortunate victims of the conflict. And for that reason, we will not be supporting it, the amendment. For that reason, we condemn the death of those people along the Fermanagh border, but we condemn the death of everyone along the Fermanagh border, regardless of who killed them, what religion they were. And to bring that on here, in my view, is playing politics with it. It's opportunistic, and it should be ruled out. And everyone, in my opinion, and I agree with Councillor Harkin, we're going to go round and round in circles in this. I could bring 12 or 13 different amendments which talks about people from right across the north. But we're not going to do that. We're going to do this. We're going to go round in circles. I think we should vote this amendment down for the reasons that I've just stated, we should move on and get on with the business that we're actually here to do, rather than electioneering. There's plenty of time for that whenever you're in Castledare. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Councillor Jackson.
I'm a good Deputy Mayor, and on behalf of Sinn Féin, I'll state that we're disgusted that it's gone down this road. Concur with what Councillor Tierney has said in relation to the week that's in it, and they be talking about troubles related deaths, and not including those that were gunned down in the streets of our city 51 years ago is disgusting. But I don't agree that this is electioneering. I think we have seen that proposals or comments trying to create division in the past, and it's not just in times of election, but so it's disgusting no matter what time of the year it is, and on that basis, we're just going to vote against it and hopefully move on, because we could be here all day talking about 800 years of British involvement in Ireland. Thanks, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. And I'm going to allow one final speaker on this, and then I'm putting it to bed, folks.
Deputy Mayor, have I the right to address
sorry, Alderman. Rachel, you were looking to come in to speak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And it's just in response to the amendment. I think it is sad that it has got to this point. It was a motion to ask for a minute's silence. I understand that Councillor Donnelly brought in an amendment to that, but he did it in a specific, respectful tone and way. I think that the debate here has become disrespectful. We condemn all the acts of atrocities and all the genocides and all the acts where we've victims across the board, across communities of none here within Northern Ireland. Like Councillor Tierney says, we could spend all day here going through a list. But I think the tone in which this amendment has been brought forward, the tone in which it says during this so-called trouble, isn't respectful of the original motion. I have no problem you putting on there amendments to recognise victims across the world, but do it in a respectful way. So unfortunately, we won't be supporting the amendment. Thank you.
Right, folks.
Deputy Mayor, I just want to call a point of order.
No, I'm sorry.
I have my name in the chat box, Deputy Mayor, before Alderman McCready spoke, and if you want to check it.
I think I've answered you that time.
No, that was the first time. That was the first time on the first
right,
amendment.
Alderman Devaney, you do have very short time, so please go ahead. It is now 20 minutes to 3. I think we've discussed it long enough, but go ahead. I'll let you in.
Well, thank you, Deputy Mayor, for allowing me in. And when the proposal of and around the Holocaust came forward, there was no problem with it. But then the famine came in then, and there was talk about genocide. And I'll read you out what genocide means: the deliberate killing of a large number of people from a particular nation or ethnic group with the aim of destroying the nation of that group. I don't believe that the famine fits very clearly within that category. But you see the amendment here, we also condemn the attempted genocide of Protestants. That fits very, very clearly within genocide, the deliberate killing of large numbers of people. And we all know who killed, we all know who murdered them. And yes, I agree with some of the other speakers have condemned other murders. I have no problem in standing in that frame and say we disagree. But, you know, once again, we hear Sinn Féin, and we know Sinn Féin, who they supported through the Troubles. But, Mayor, I think the deliberate killing of a large number of people, that is what genocide. This is where this debate came from. There was no motion, there was no issue in around until genocide was mentioned. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman. And to be honest with you, a large group of people, the Irish famine, did not knock on your door and asked, were you Protestant or Catholic? I'm moving on from this, so I'm now going
Deputy Mayor, can I get a point of clarification, please?
Yeah.
In terms of the definition of genocide, does Alderman Devaney include the murder of a large number of people in the streets of the city in 1972?
Right, moving on for vote. Are you okay there, Chief Executive?
The amendment, members, Alderman Breslin,
Against?
Alderman Devaney,
John, could we just clarify what we're voting on here? Just clarify what we're voting on.
sorry, excuse me, Alderman Devaney, I didn't pick that up.
John, just clarify what we're voting on, please.
Members, you're voting on the amendment proposed by Alderman Hussey.
The vote has already been called. Mayor.
Alderman Devaney,
For the amendment.
Alderman Hussey,
Or
Alderman Carrigan,
John.
Alderman McCready, Alderman McMorris,
For John.
Alderman Thompson, sorry, my apologies, Alderman Wark, Councillor Jason Barr, Councillor Raymond Barr,
Against?
Councillor John Boyle, Councillor Michaela Boyle,
Against, John.
Councillor Carr, Councillor Cusick, Councillor Dobbins, Councillor Donnelly, Councillor Doyle, Councillor Alex Duffy,
Against, John.
Councillor Edwards, Councillor Farrell,
Against.
Councillor Ferguson,
Against.
Councillor Gallagher,
Against.
Councillor Harkin, Councillor Heaney,
Against.
Councillor Jackson,
Against.
Councillor Kelly,
Against.
Councillor Logue, Councillor McGinley,
Against.
Councillor McHugh, Councillor McKinney,
Against.
Councillor Mooney, Councillor Norris, Councillor O'Neill, Councillor Riley,
Against?
Councillor Tierney. Thank you, members.
Chief Executive, I was having some trouble with my audio there, so I'm against. Just to record that, please, John Boyle.
John, Councillor McGuire here. I've joined the meeting and vote against as well.
Who's that?
McGuire.
Against. Okay, members, I'm counting now. Deputy Mayor, I've recorded 29 against the amendment and 5 for the amendment, so the amendment falls.
We don't need to do, we don't need to go back to
You
substantiate.
need to take a vote now.
Right, so that has fallen. So we go back to the substantive motion. And I take it that would be all the same as it was then? Anybody, any difference of opinion?
Madam Deputy Mayor, I'm prepared to accept the motion as stand.
Sorry?
I'm prepared to accept the motion as stands if the amendment is defeated.
So is that unanimous then? So is that,
Speeds things
Yep.
up. Yes, still up here voting for.
yeah, that's it, it's unanimous.
Chair, we will be abstaining. The DEP will be abstaining.
Right, so we go back to the start then, right? John, where you go?
Okay, members, on the substantive motion now, Alderman Breslin,
Against?
Alderman Devaney,
Abstain.
Alderman Hussey,
For.
Alderman Carrigan,
Abstain, John.
Alderman McCready, Alderman McMorris,
Abstain.
Alderman Wark, Councillor Jason Barr, Councillor Raymond Barr,
Or.
Councillor John Boyle,
Or.
Councillor Michaela Boyle,
For.
Councillor Carr, Councillor Cusick, Councillor Dobbins, Councillor Donnelly, Councillor Doyle, Councillor Alex Duffy,
Or.
Councillor Edwards, Councillor Farrell,
Or.
Councillor Ferguson, Councillor Gallagher, Councillor Harkin, Councillor Heaney, Councillor Jackson,
Or.
Councillor Kelly,
For.
Councillor Logue, Councillor McGinley,
Or.
Councillor McGuire,
For.
Councillor McHugh, Councillor McKinney,
For.
Councillor Mooney, Councillor Norris, Councillor O'Neill, Councillor Riley,
For.
and Councillor Tierney. Thank you, members. Deputy Mayor, I've recorded 30 for, 1 against and 3 abstentions. So the substantive motion passes.
Thank you for that, Chief Executive. I am conscious, Philip, were you looking to shortly, briefly sum up on that? I am conscious that there was a suggestion by Councillor Harkin that we hold a 1 minute silence with regard.
That's the motion.
All right. So do you want to speak or can we just move on?
Basically, just to thank everybody for, and was not my intention that it should become a green and orange debate. It's as simple as that, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Okay, can we all stand for a minute silence, please? Thank you, everyone. Now, reverting back to business, Councillor North.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. This is just a quick proposal. Recently, I've wrote to DFI around issues around various potholes around the area. There's various areas in the Fahan DA, Maydown, Strathfoyle, Grantia, particularly Tamnearin. On the request to the DFI, I asked for a site visit, and they told me due to restrictions, my workforce and all the rest, I can't. So I proposed that the council would write to DFI and ask for a site visit with elected representatives to assess this road. This, I believe, is due to the amount of HGVs are on the road. A lot of them's bad potholes, and a lot of people, cars, cyclists have to pull around it. And they're sort of pulling out on the road. And also, I would propose that we write to get a site visit. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Have you a seconder for that? Okay.
I'll happily second that, sorry.
Alderman Hussey.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and totally appreciate, as many rural councillors will, the content and direction of the proposal. Just for information, perhaps Karen can tell us, when are we due to meet with DFI Road Service again for a council meeting with Road Service? And secondly, when is the next planned unadopted roads meeting? Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Through you, Chair, members, the DFI Roads Manager normally comes in for an update in the spring, so we will try and find out when that's likely to happen, and I will find out about the unadopted roads and make sure that's on members' diary as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And is there any update on the requested meeting for Derg representatives yet?
Through you, Chair, I'll check that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, folks, you have had a chance to see that. So is there any dissenting voices? Well, I take that as unanimous. Thank you very much. Moving on now, Councillor McGinley, sorry.
Grandma, Deputy Mayor, and I'll be brief. It's just I wanted to raise, given the day that's in it, that our mayor is in London, meeting with BBC executives in relation to Radio Foyle. I think it's something that we need to welcome as a council. Coming out of that meeting, I know that Councillor Duffy has been on BBC this afternoon following the meeting and has indicated the meeting was positive, that she has reiterated her invite for those chiefs to come to Derry, meet with people, hear the impacts that the cost of Radio Foyle are going to have, and at the minute they have accepted that meeting, and she hopes it'll happen within the coming weeks. So I just wanted to raise it at this meeting today that the Save Radio Foyle campaign is the reason this has happened. They congratulate the campaigners and that we keep pushing forward. Megan.
Sure, we all share your sentiment there. Councillor McGinley, Brian, Councillor Tierney.
Thank you, Mayor, and thanks to Councillor McGinley for raising this. Also present at that meeting today was our party leader and Foyle MP, Colin Eastwood, who tells me that the meeting was quite productive. And there's a few positive actions that have come out of it, particularly accepting the invitation to come to Derry, speak to the staff and speak to people who would support the Save the Radio Foyle campaign. I think that's extremely positive because it's a move that the BBC were not intending to do. And I think it shows that as a community and as a city, when we campaign on issues together and a united approach with a strong lobby against even big corporations like the BBC, that we do have an opportunity, and we do get, when we do get those opportunities, we get those bosses to listen. Hopefully they come here and they hear what I'm sure other elected representatives have been hearing about the importance of the breakfast programme and the importance of Radio Foyle as a whole to the people of the Northwest, and hopefully that kickstarts the starting and changing of minds within the BBC. But I think today's stage in this process of a campaign is quite positive. I think it's something to be welcomed, and I think it's something that we should be learning from going forward in all campaigns, because there's no doubt that given the current climate that there are going to be more where we are going to have to lean on people with positions such as the Mayor, our MLAs and MPs across this district, and I think it's good to see. I think the staff will be hopeful now, and we'll have a bit of hope around their individual futures as well. And I think it's a big well done, as Councillor McGinley has said, to the Save the Radio Foyle campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tierney. Councillor Harkin.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, for letting me in, and thank you to Councillor McGinley for raising the issue. And I think it is welcome that we've had political representatives from different parties here giving voice to the campaign in Westminster today. And if the BBC bosses are going to come here, that is welcome. And I think that it's testimony to the strength of this campaign and the efforts which have been ongoing and relentless. And I think in terms of what we are looking for is obviously the jobs are foremost for us, in terms of we don't want people to lose their livelihood right now in the middle of a cost of living crisis. And it's the NUJ's role to defend those jobs, and they are doing a lot of fantastic work to that end. But there is the broader issue as well about provision, BBC radio provision for the Northwest. And I think that defence of the jobs is a basic demand. So is the defence of the radio station itself. And I think that until we see that the BBC is completely reversing its plans, I think we will not be able to declare victory. I think we can win this, but I do not trust BBC bosses in London. I don't trust what they tell people. I think we want to see the proof will be in the pudding. And I think we're going to have to continue to back up the NUJ and to continue to push forward with the Save Radio Foyle community campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Harkin. Alderman Devaney.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, for allowing me in. Just put on the record that the DP's MP Gregory Campbell was also in attendance today at that meeting, and I have to say it's good to hear that there's some positive news coming back out of it. At least the BBC are prepared to listen and listen to the voices of the people and around our concerns about the loss of jobs and Radio Foyle here, and we all know the good work that they do across the community. But I think, as quite rightly stated, this is what can happen when we go with a united voice, and today it has been a united voice. Look, very much once again, we're very much in favour of supporting Radio Foyle and supporting the staff who may lose their jobs. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Devaney. And yes, it certainly does show that when voices are singing in harmony, we sing the loudest. So moving on, final speaker, Councillor Jackson.
I'm a good Deputy Mayor, and I just want to take this opportunity to welcome Councillor Alex Duffy to his first meeting of full council, and I just want to reassure him that it's not always like this. But I think most people in the chamber would be aware of or particularly those that are based within the city, would be aware of Councillor Duffy's background in the community and his work within the youth sector. And from our party's perspective, we believe that since taking over and being co-opted late last year, he's had the ground running, and I suppose we in saying that, we recognise that there was huge boots to fill, because I just want to, at this point, pay tribute to the work that Councillor Fleming has done, particularly in the Faughan DEA. Councillor Fleming has served the community in Faughan for over 20 years. He served the Derry City Council as the mayor, and that he's held various positions of responsibility, and he's always fulfilled his role impeccably. He led our party as our group leader for many years, and I on a personal note, I would have considered Councillor Fleming a hero and a revolutionary before I became involved in politics and before I became involved in this council. He's always led from the front in a quiet and unassuming way, and he's always put the needs of others in front of himself. And I think we can all recognise particularly over his 20 plus years in council, there's many examples where we can all point to where we've seen Councillor Fleming provide that leadership role and stand up for the residents of the Faughan and the wider areas. So I want to take this opportunity on behalf of our party to wish Councillor Fleming all the best, and give a warm welcome to Councillor Alex Duffy and his replacement, Cormilgut, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Emmett Doyle. Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and I want to echo a lot of what Councillor Jackson has said. I have only been here about 2 years, but have known of the work that Paul Fleming particularly did in his area for many years. And I have to say that despite our political differences, we always got on very well. I think that it's a loss to the council to not have Paul here. But I do want to heartily welcome Alex, who I know from Greater Shantel Community Arts and Studio 2 in my own DA. I have to say that maybe now that he's a councillor, he won't have to partake in so many of the TikTok videos alongside many of the young people he works with. Maybe that's a good thing, Alex. I'm not too sure. But I welcome him here heartily. I count him as a friend, and I wish him all the very best, and wish all the very best to Paul Fleming and his family as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Doyle. Councillor Tierney.
Thank you, Mayor, or Deputy Mayor, sorry. On behalf of the SDLP, just to pay thanks and acknowledgement to Paul Fleming as he retires from elected politics. Paul, as I found him, was always a quiet but friendly fella who would have no issue in also letting you know what he thought as well, and if he were wrong, he wasn't long in telling you. We genuinely wish him well in his retirement and thank him on behalf of our party for his service. I'm sure the people of Faughan, but people right across the city also appreciate the positions that he has held whilst being an elected representative. We also welcome and wish Councillor Alex Duffy well as he steps under that position. I'm not so sure that I agree with Christopher when he says that it's not like this all the time, but hopefully it won't be long and running out and we can get some actual work done. But thank you and well done to Paul Fleming, and good luck to Alex Duffy as he takes on the role. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tierney. Councillor Ferguson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And we would just want to send our well wishes to Paul Fleming, and I want to just say welcome to you, Alex Duffy. I think, you know, Alex and I have worked within the community. We've known each other for many, many years, and I know he's been a strong voice for the community within the Strathflyde Community Association for many years before even joining council. So I think he's going to be a great asset to the Faughan DA and someone who'd be able to fill the shoes of Paul after the 20 years that Paul has been on council. And I just want to send both of them well wishes in the future and look forward to working with Alex and any other councillors and the new councillor Steckland North to the Faughan DA as well. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Right, folks, that is all. Yes, sure.
Thank you. Yeah, we just wanted to, from People Before Profit, send our best to Councillor Fleming and wish him well in his retirement. He spent a long time in here, and welcome to Councillor Alex Duffy to the council, the only government that we have right now. So all the best with that.
Thank you, Councillor Herkin. Councillor Gary.
I'd like to welcome Councillor Duffy to the chamber. Look forward to working with him, and I know he's done a lot of work, good work in the Strathflyde area.
Thank you, Alderman. Okay, folks. Right, moving on from chairperson's business to the confirmation of the open minutes of the meeting of Derry City and Strabane District Council held Wednesday, the 14th of December. Pages 9 to 42. Yes, Sean. Oh, for actually, sorry. Yeah. For accuracy, all okay? Yep. Can I have a proposal, please?
So proposed, Alderman Devaney.
Okay, Alderman, thank you. And Sean, second. Matters arising.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, C541/22. We had a meeting with Seagate Management, as people who will there know, on Monday. And I think that was a welcome thing that we did at that meeting. Personally, I was quite frustrated at what the Seagate Management had to offer, but I think that from our perspective as a council and from individual councillors, we made it very clear what we were asking for, and I think we represented the views of the workers there very, very well, especially their demand for trade union recognition. I've been contacted by lots of workers there asking about that meeting, and I've also spoken to Worker Unite representatives. And I wanted to propose that we meet with some of the worker representatives and Unite to brief them on the meeting and give them a formal update so that they're not just getting bits and pieces of information from us. And then we can discuss with them what else the council can do to support them. So basically, I'm just proposing that following that meeting that we organise as soon as we can a meeting with them. It wouldn't be a formal meeting in the sense of a special council meeting. I think that we can easily organise a meeting in the next week or a couple of weeks to basically brief them on it.
Councillor Harkin, would you put that on the chat box, please? Okay, we'll just, while we're waiting on that, Councillor Tierney, you were next.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and thanks to Councillor Harkin for raising this issue. I'm not sure whether he got a seconder for his proposal, but if he didn't, I'm happy to do it. I think it is a good idea that we now meet collectively with the trade union and representatives, or as many representatives of the workers as we can, to give, I suppose, a joint position on the outcome of the meeting. Seagate believe that their reason and rationale for not engaging with the trade union movement at this stage is to respect people's right not to join a trade union, which I can understand but fundamentally disagree with, and made that perfectly clear at the meeting. It's my view that trade union recognition will be gained within Seagate. It will be, in my view, extremely unfortunate if Seagate are dragged to that position by their workforce. But I think the main goal is that the workforce get there and that recognition's there. But I think it's a very good idea that we have a collective discussion with the workers around the outcome of that meeting. And because, you know, I have been contacted by workers as well since that meeting took place. There are some that have a fair account of the meeting. There are some that I actually thought that I had missed a meeting with the Seagate management, that they were that far out. But I think we now need to come together and work with the workforce, with the trade union, to plan what the next number of steps are. I think everyone recognises that at the meeting, the Seagate management were very much also looking to speak and work with elected representatives about the future of the plant and how we within council can help and support them. I think, you know, that meeting, in my view, with the management was one step in what will hopefully be a long process till we help them continue the growth of the site there. And I think that's a good outcome and a positive outcome for everyone. But I would like to see the issue around the trade union recognition resolved sooner rather than later. So I think it is a fair proposal. And as I say, if Councillor Harkin hasn't got a seconder, I'm happy to do it. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
I think Councillor Neil beat you did and seconded, so Councillor Doyle.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor, and I echo what Sean and Brian have said. There's definitely a lot of people who know what went on in the meeting and a lot of people who think they know what went on in the meeting. And it's, you know, in hindsight, we maybe should have minuted it, but alas, I have to say that it's one of the few meetings that I've been to as an elected rep where everybody was speaking from the one hymn sheet. And I have to say that despite being very disappointed with the not outcome of the meeting, if you like, I think we put a number of very important points to the management. We obviously, I put it specifically to management that if there was no issue with trade union organisation or representation, then there should be a trade union operating and fully recognised in the plant on Monday. But obviously, we're not at that point yet. But certainly, I think the proposal is a sound one and absolutely support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Doyle. Councillor Gallagher,
It's on a different matter, just.
can you hold on to it then until we come back? Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, thanks, Deputy Mayor. And on behalf of Sinn Féin, we support the proposal. I think if there is any sort of miscommunication coming out of the meeting, then a meeting with council and the workers and representatives of the workers could clear up any confusion. But they state that some of the comments that have been made so far in relation to there being a consensus amongst all the elected reps at the meeting, I would concur. We all did come at it with a unified voice in support of the workers and the workers' demands. But equally, I would confirm that we're deeply frustrated with the meeting, and there is scope. There does need to be greater collaboration between our council and any major employers within our city and district. They overcome some of the challenges and some in a more strategic level. They encourage employment, they create employment, and they sustain jobs within our district. But for the lack of willingness to engage with trade unions and they encourage trade unions, it makes it very difficult to have that strategic discussion, to have that strategic support and partnership, because these issues are coming to the fore. They need to be addressed. That's as simple as that. And I have confidence that eventually we will see union recognition within Seagate, but it'll be completely down to the workers, and it won't be on the back of a meeting that we're organising as a council. It's the campaign and the demands on the factory floor and at a worker level that will deliver a union within Seagate, and that's where the focus needs to be. But if there's any clarity that we can provide or any support that we can provide as a council, as a party, we're always supportive of it. Thanks, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Councillor Ferguson.
Thank you, Mayor. And Mayor, I was also at that meeting, and I appreciate the opportunity to try and host another meeting to tell the outcomes of that meeting. I think, Madam Mayor, I think Seagate were very keen to talk about the strategy going forward and the business itself and the plant. And we're all in unison at that meeting that day that we would love to be having that conversation, but that this issue about not recognising trade unions and the fact that people may be discouraged to join in a union was tarnishing that conversation, and we wanted to move past that to a positive outcome. I think this next meeting is vital because at the moment there is a number of rumours and conversations about what happened within that room that isn't us saying it, it's someone else, and everybody takes from their own perspective. I know some are frustrated, but I think we got definitive answer that people can join unions and they shouldn't be discouraged or discriminated against, and if they are, they should follow the current process where if they're happy with it or not, they should follow that, and that for me is a bit of comfort. I also take the positivity of the fact that they engaged with us. They came to the room. They took a lot of hard questions from a lot of members, and they engaged with us. So that's another positive. So, Madam Mayor, I do see this as a way forward in engaging with Seagate to try and make sure their employees are heard, and then we can look to the future strategically and see how we can grow. So happy to support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Alderman Hussey. On you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And just to concur with all the other members who attended the meeting and their thoughts there, we fully support any other meeting that will take place. I myself missed a meeting with the employees at the time at another engagement. And my colleague, Alderman Hussey, was the one that pointed out that we needed to meet management as well to get both sides of the story. I, perhaps more than most members that were at the meeting, wasn't surprised by the management's response, as I was employed by Seagate at one stage, and an accusation made by one of the management team that what I was saying was a myth was indeed not, because I was actually faced with that scenario when I was employed by them, and it certainly wasn't a myth. But thanks, Deputy Mayor. We were happy to support any further meetings as well with both employees and management.
Thank you, Alderman Gary. Alderman McNorris. Alderman McMorris.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, for allowing me in. I also was at that meeting with Seagate, and I concur with the rest of the speakers. And we're happy to support the proposal. I just wanted to put on record too, at the meeting, I feel that there was a lot of strong language used in regards to the claims that some of the employees had made in regards to harassment and bullying. And I just want to reiterate, I think it was Christopher Jackson there that said about, that the movement will be pushed on by the employees, and as much as we will do our best in order to push this on and basically concur with what they're feeling and are being subjected to. I just want to reiterate the comments that was made at the meeting, that there is a grievance process open to all of the employees, and if they are being discriminated against or feel as if they're being harassed or bullied, I would encourage all of them employees to go through the grievance process, because that will only add weight to their cause of trying to get the unions in within Seagate. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for that. Councillor Donnelly.
Cormac, Chair. No, I am supporting the proposal, and it was good to see Seagate in. However, it was late in the day, and I got the impression that there was a reluctance. I'm very disappointed in the meeting. I think it really was a lost opportunity, and I don't think that the feedback from some of the workers there's a lot of frustration, and I think that's why it's important that this proposal happens. There's a number of things dealt with, and just like the previous speaker about grievance processes and that, it's my understanding that a lot of the workers have no faith in that grievance procedures, and just like all our grievance procedures that exist, if you don't have faith in them, you're not going to use it because you don't trust it and you don't trust the procedures. Regards the forum, that they said they would rather have the forum than a union. It's my understanding that a lot of the workers have no faith either in this forum, and they don't believe that it deals with the proper issues. So rather than speculation, let's get the workers back, and let's get back to them of what Seagate management said, and let's hear what they have to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Donnelly. Folks, I'm not hearing any dissenting voices. If there is, could they make themselves known now? Online? Nope. Right, so okay, folks, so sorry about that wee delay. No dissenting voices, none online. So therefore, we can take it as unanimous. Thank you. Moving on, item 8, confirmation of the open minutes of the... All right, then. See you guys. Okay, Maeve, go ahead.
Go first. Okay, thanks. It was just C559 stroke 22 about my boy. So I'm sure many people will have listened to the BBC 4 podcast.
Maeve, can I just interrupt you there? There will be an opportunity for you to come in on the committee section with regard to that. So rather than rehash everything twice, I'll just move on from that and give you the opportunity then to come in. Would that be all right?
Yeah, sorry,
Thank you.
my boy update was in the minutes.
Yeah, thanks, Maeve. Councillor Alderman Hussey.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Item C55822 on page 33, Newton Stewart regeneration. Unfortunately, an event which was planned for the Milne Country Inn had to be cancelled because of weather. And I understand that officials are looking at resetting that particular event. I also understand that because of certain concerns around the particular venue, a second venue is being planned to be used as well. So the postponement of the event in the Milne Country Inn plus an additional event actually in Newton Stewart and in our own council area is planned as well. Is there any update as to when those events are likely to occur? I know the regeneration officer isn't here, but maybe Karen has an update. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Through you, Chair, the team are looking at a suitable date at the minute, but we hope to have it in the next couple of weeks as quickly as possible. So we're getting it into the diary. And as you said, we will do one in the afternoon and one in the evening and run them concurrently. Thank you.
Well, that's appreciated. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Hussey. Councillor Gallagher.
Thank you, Mayor, for that. It's just regarding the emergency fuel support programme, and I think that's, I don't think that we should pass a council meeting by first giving some acknowledgement to our staff here in council who delivered this programme. This programme was a very complex programme, very difficult programme. We were to the forefront of it, and there was many issues arising out of it. But I would just like to say that, like, our staff dealt with many of those complex issues with the utmost integrity. And we went on and we helped thousands of people who were facing real hardship. And I think that definitely a round of applause needs to go to our staff for doing that. And just to say, Mayor, like, as I say, we were to the forefront, and if the press is anything to go by, other councils were learning from us, and other councils were not learning from us and made the mistakes. Particularly the big one in Belfast, who think they know everything. I think by all reports that they made a hash it. But for us here, for us that's across the entire district, I think that there was many people with great benefits across every DEA, and I think that needs to be acknowledged. And just on a separate matter, Mayor, just on our issue on it, I wonder if there's any update on the Castleberry issue on the 55722.
Thank you, Councillor Gallagher.
Through you, Chair, members, the letter has been sent, but we haven't received anything further that I'm aware of. We'll check.
Councillor Farrell.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor, and I would just like to concur with the remarks from Councillor Gallagher regarding the emergency fuel support programme that we launched and we delivered right across this city and district. You know, we invested a considerable amount of money in it, and we helped thousands of households who were facing financial distress due to this cost of living crisis. The scheme wasn't perfect, and we've been round the houses in this. We've had countless meetings, but we got there in the end, and we were the first council across the north to even attempt this. So a lot of people need a lot of thanks about this, but the person, in our view, that deserves the most praise is Una McGillian, who worked round the clock to deliver this. The dedication, the determination, the diligence that she displayed during this entire process is something we are in awe of, and we've had so many working groups, so many discussions, and you could see the passion and her sort of determination to get this over the line. So on behalf of the SDLP, I just want to say to Una McGillian and the team that works for Una, thank you very much, because you have made a massive, massive difference to people right across this city and district. And I would also say that, this is an example of best practice across the north. We were the first to do this because there's a clear need. There was a deficit in terms of the support coming from Stormont, the support coming from Westminster. We stepped in and did what needed to be done. We didn't have the resources to do it, but we did what we could. And now, Belfast are copying us, and I've heard it in Nolan that people are saying they should have adapted the Derry and Strabane model, but we lead, others follow, and we are getting contacted from party colleagues across the north about their councils introducing something similar, and that is down to the team here. The officer team. So we did our best for the people that we represent, and that's something we should be proud of. Thank you.
100%. Councillor Ferguson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And again, I want to concur with the comments made before in regards to the hardship working group. I think what people don't understand was this was months of meetings nearly every other week where we as a collective would come up with what we wanted this scheme to look like. And Una and Rachel Craig went away and figured out legally how we could do it, physically how we could do it. And I think there was a lot of emotion put into the hard work that Una, Rachel and the team did. And I know there was a lot of criticism around some of the issues because this was the first time this scheme had ever been developed, the first time we didn't even know whether we could actually do it. And a lot of those complaints were taken on their shoulders. And I know the likes of the team, along with Una and Rachel, worked really hard and tirelessly for hours to sort out these complaints and issues, as well as some of the advice providers within our city and district. I have said this, and we have said this in private meetings, Dana. I got emails late on a Sunday night looking for details and requests and to try and get people the money as quickly as possible. This was a scheme that we thought we had months to get out before the winter, and because of procurement and all the different, we ended up with a matter of weeks and people needed the money out. And I cannot give more thanks to the people on the ground that were putting this out there and trying their hardest to make sure it reached people, and it did reach people. So on behalf of the Alliance Party, I want to thank Rachel Craig and the team and the advice providers who all worked really tirelessly hard over those couple of weeks to make sure that this money got out. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. All I wanted to say about this was my thanks in particular, as Councillor Farrell had said. Una McGillian deserves a lot of the credit for this scheme being rolled out. Even way back as far as the first meetings we had about this around the research and all of the work that was carried out in the interim. And to Rachel McKay as well, who I have to say I've been on to a number of times and who's been able to come back with results for constituents. So, just to say to John, particularly if you could pass on our thanks, because the work that was done was absolutely fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Doyle. Alderman Devaney.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, for allowing me in. And look, and around the debate and around the hardship fund, I would like to put the DEPs on behalf of the DEP a record of thanks to Una and Rachel and everyone who helped out with this process. It probably was one of the most difficult and complicated processes I've ever worked at, because when we thought we got to an agreement and we thought everything was running smoothly, up turned someone else. But we got there at the end of the day. It was a very, very worthwhile project, and it has helped many of our citizens out there who are facing crisis with the cost of living at the moment. But once again, Deputy Mayor, just thanks to everyone who worked on it and those who worked on the committee as well. Thanks. And the advice services, they played a very important role as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Alderman Valley. Alderman Gary.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And just to reiterate what everyone else has said, and a major thanks to Una and all the team. Great job they done. We knew how hard it was. And as everybody else is saying about how Belfast and all is struggling to keep up with us at the minute. Just to say thanks to everybody, and especially even right down to the reception desk at 98 Strand Road, because I was delivering paper copies on that morning. So I was involved in the bedlam that ensued at the front desk, but they handled it well as well. So thanks to everyone.
Thank you. And finally, Councillor Jackson.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor, and just on behalf of Sinn Féin, just they send our thanks to all those that were involved in the rollout of the hardship fund, and it's not something our council should be involved in, but in the absence of any meaningful support from Westminster and the absence of any institutions at Stormont, we had no option but to step up and provide as much support as we could, but it was limited, and we knew the limitations from the very start. Officers and our advice service partners did go above and beyond. They not only deliver the scheme, but they keep members updated in all the ups and downs as the scheme was being rolled out. So on behalf of Sinn Féin, I want to offer our thanks in relation to that. But the reality is, and I know there's even the rollout of the scheme wasn't without its challenges. I think we've started to appreciate all the complexities around delivering oil, which certainly wasn't a consideration when we set out on this journey, because what we all hoped was that we could get support to people as quickly and as easily as possible, and that wasn't always the case. But one of the things, and I think we all anticipated and we all realised the level of need that's out there, and some people expressed their frustrations around not being able to avail of the scheme, or expressed frustrations around any delays in the support getting put out there. And I don't think that reflects on council in any way. What it does is reflects and the sheer desperation that many people are currently in within our city and district, and that's sort of further being exasperated by the delays in the rollout of the £600 payment. I think it's completely disgraceful that we're sitting here at the end of January and there's many within our district that still haven't received that payment that we were promised would happen well before Christmas. So the scheme, everybody that was involved in it, we want to commend the role. It's not something that the council should have been involved in, but as always, council step up to meet the needs of the local population in their city and district. So we want to acknowledge everybody who played a part in that. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Councillor Harkin.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I want to agree with everyone. I think Una and many other people went above and beyond to get this scheme rolled out, and I think it wasn't an easy task, and it took more work and longer than we wanted it to. It's something that we as a council shouldn't be doing, but because of the criminal failure of Westminster and Stormont to take urgent action. We found ourselves in a position where we had, growing desperation and hardship across our district, and we needed to do something and find a way to do something. And we did find a way. And Una, in particular, helped us. So I want to thank Una because she was available all the time, and all the other organisations and partners that helped to make this happen. As has been mentioned, there was lots of problems with the way it was rolled out and the delay, and lots of people have been left frustrated. It is welcome that we've managed to help the people who were able to access the £100. But there is a lot of frustration across our district as well. That can't just be the responsibility of council. We have to look at who has the broadest shoulders and their ability to help people, and we have to keep the pressure on there. And there's been lots of campaign groups that pushed the council along and that pushed along the demand to finally get the £600 from Westminster. But as we look at the landscape right now of our district area, and this is the role of the hardship working group. It hasn't been just to deliver this £100 to people. It's been to try and look at and understand the scale of deprivation across our district. And unfortunately, the combination of COVID and the cost of living crisis means that many more people are facing greater hardship right now. So I don't think we're patting ourselves in the back for doing a great job, because I think we found a way to help people, but we know that it was only a drop in the ocean. And I think that, we have a tremendous amount of work, and I don't see the solution coming just from council. It is going to require a big heave from campaigning groups, from trade unions, who are all combining and taking action now to come to get to grips with growing inequality and growing hardship. So, thank you to Una and the many others and people behind the scenes who helped the council deliver this. But we have a massive amount of work to do. And unfortunately, hardship has only gotten worse across the district.
Thank you, Councillor Harkin. Right, folks, moving on. Item 8, confirmation of the open minutes of the special meeting of DCSDC Instrument District Council held on Friday the 9th of December, pages 43 to 56 for accuracy.
Proposed, Alderman Devaney.
Seconder. Thank you. Any matters arising? None on the floor, none online, so that's a go. Item 9, confirmation of the open minutes of the special meeting of Derry City and Strabane District Council held on Monday, the 19th of December. For accuracy, pages 57 to 68. Can I have a proposer?
No proposed, Alderman Devaney.
Thank you, Morris. Seconder, Rachel Ferguson. Matters arising? Sean.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. As everybody will know, there's healthcare workers across the north are taking another day of strike action tomorrow. And it's unfortunate that they have to do that, but this fight is far from over. And I thought that the union representatives from the healthcare trade unions give excellent representation to the council about their struggle. And I think that there's been an attempt to demonise the nurses and health and social care workers in the midst of the healthcare crisis, the health service crisis that we're in. So I wanted to propose that we as a council on our social media extend our solidarity to the strikers out of this meeting today. I think it's important that we continue to show that we back the strikers and that we back their demands. I'll be joining them on the picket line, and I'm sure others will as well. They want to see support, and I think that the more visible this strike is, the better the chance it has of winning. So that would be my proposal, that we, through our social media, send a message of solidarity to the health and social care workers taking strike action tomorrow. The second issue on this is in regard
I'd be happy to second the proposal.
Thank you, Councillor Gallagher. The second issue on this is I've been contacted by...
You see, before you go any further, we have a proposal on the second here, so can we just deal with that? Looking around the room, I think everybody is in agreement of that. Online, same as, so, okay, go ahead now.
Deputy Mayor, just before you move on, can I declare an interest, as my wife's a striker? I don't know whether I have to, but just to keep things right.
I declare interest too, as worker in the health and social care services.
Can I declare an interest as an employee of the Trust?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and thanks everybody for their support. I'm sure it'll be appreciated on the picket lines. I've been contacted by striking housing executive maintenance workers, and they've been on strike now for almost 6 months. And to my understanding, this is the longest ever public sector strike. And they recently rejected the latest offer made to them by the housing executive, which they felt didn't really change the original offer, and they overwhelmingly rejected it. So that leaves them back out on the picket lines, and they are looking for political support, and they want to engage with locally elected representatives. So on their behalf, I wanted to propose that we organise a meeting with worker representatives and unite as soon as possible to discuss the issues surrounding their strike. I think it's important for us to do this. They're up there at Richmond Chambers from Monday to Friday. And I think that we should meet with them and actually have a discussion about what we as a council can do. We as a council have already voted to support their strike and to back their demands. So I think that meeting with them to hear what they have to say about where their campaign for a pay rise is would be appreciated by them. But I also think it's the right thing to do.
Councillor Harden, could you just type that into the chat box, please? Councillor Mooney.
Thank you, Chair, and just on behalf of the SDLP, I'd like to second that proposal by Councillor Hargan. Obviously, we've discussed today various disputes, IEC Gate, and we've discussed postal workers and all our disputes that are arising through the city and district, but I'd be very happy to hear about, very happy for the meeting to take place and to hear the concerns. Obviously, it's going on 6 months now, and it's probably 6 months too long for those people who are in the strike. So, very happy to second that motion. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Mooney. Councillor Donnelly.
Thanks, Chair. And just to echo sentiments of the previous two speakers, I've been on the picket line a number of times with Councillor Hargan. There's a price being paid by this strike, and I don't think it's being highlighted. There's areas of the city that there's lanes and that aren't being cleaned up. And I've had a number of complaints by residents regarding this. And one recently was where an elderly disabled man almost took a tumble down a flight of steps because they were covered in leaves. I think that council should be doing everything that we can. It's not enough to pay lip service. So let's get them in, have the conversation and see what we can do as a corporate body to help put pressure. We've had the housing executive in here, and we have questioned them previously, and they were saying that they were meeting them the next day, but they walked out of the meeting. So whilst they'll give the perception that, we're doing everything we can, the reality on the ground or behind the scenes isn't like that. So just happy to support the proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Donnelly. Yes, go ahead.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. And just on behalf of Sinn Féin, we fully support the proposal, and we support the campaign from the housing executive workers. Now, I know Deirdre Hargy, prior to the deadline in October, gave a direction to the chief executive of the housing executive to engage with the unions to work towards a resolution. And unfortunately, we haven't seen progress in that. And unfortunately, there is a vacuum there where there isn't any role for the department to engage, because the DUP have decided that issues such as public sector pay and the maintenance of the housing executive estate and housing executive properties aren't important to them. So if there's anything that we can do as a council to support those striking workers, as a party, we're fully supportive of that, and we would be keen to be involved in the discussions. Thanks, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Right, folks, I'm not hearing any. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Councillor McGinley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's just to say, really, we fully support the motion.
Thank you. I'm not hearing any dissenting voices. So there's none online. So I take that as being unanimously agreed. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the adoption of open minutes for the committees. First committee, Special Planning Committee, held on Wednesday, the 14th of December. Proposer is Sean Mooney.
I'll second.
Thank you, Alderman Breslin. For accuracy, everything pages 69 to 72. Any matters arising? No. Moving swiftly on. Monthly governance and strategic planning.
I propose that one.
Thank you, Alderman Breslin. Seconded by Alderman Hussey.
Sorry, Deputy Mayor, I have a matter of accuracy.
Okay, go ahead, Alderman Hussey.
Thank you. GSP 9/23, page 81, third paragraph. Again, it refers, he explained that some of his constituents, I constantly remind people it's the wrong terminology. I never use that word. It should be electors. Thank you.
I'm sure that will be changed. Do we have a seconder for that? Thank you very much, Councillor McGinley. Monthly planning committee held on. Oh, I thought I'd gone out. Right, go ahead.
Sorry. So GSP 10. So it was just around the strategic rail issue. And, as we all know, we're patiently waiting for the All Ireland Strategic Rail Review. But we haven't had a sniff of it yet, despite it being completed because of the deadlock in Stormont. And I just think, it was discussed at the Governance and Strategic Planning meeting around the Clonmel issue. And, they put, clear time perspectives on the works that they want to do. And with the deadlock in Stormont and without the publication of the Strategic Rail Review, it's really, stopping and holding up the important steps that we need to make for the development of rail here in the Northwest. Like Eamon Ryan in the South, he met with the ARAP consultants, the engineering consultants who are doing the work. and also a real expert from the British government there recently. It was in the paper last week. But again, the feasibility of reopening the Derry Portadown line is still in jeopardy. But kind of, I just wanted to propose, given that on departing the DFI minister, when he departed his role, he gave instruction to his department to begin the feasibility process for reopening the Derry Portadown line. And I just wanted council to write to DFI to explain the problems that could be created by the proposed new Clan Mill building on the former railway track bed off Victoria Road, and the difficulties that could create for extending rails south from the waterside station, and to ask DFI to expedite their work on determining the feasibility of reopening the Derry Road line, and ask them to cover all costs associated with the repurchase of this land from Clanmill, because I think we've seen when the cost, they're a lot more than what Clanmill purchased it for. Council are in no position to actually buy that land, so we really need to put the pressure on DFI to see, is it feasible, is this the line that they want to use for the Derry Portadown line, and are they prepared to buy the land from Clanmill? So I can put that proposal on if you want. Thanks.
Yes, please, councillor. Thank you. Councillor Edwards.
Deputy Mayor, item 3 in terms of our motion deals, I think, with rail and rail expansion, probably could be dealt with under there. Deputy Mayor, I have another issue to raise under this item after you've dealt with this proposal.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Neil, have you a seconder for that? Okay, thank you.
Chair, just on the point that Councillor Edwards made, I do feel it's separate because it's focusing on Clanmill rather than on what he has proposed.
Councillor Ball, sorry, Councillor Ball, I wasn't looking at that column. You were looking to come in there as a point of order.
It's fine, Mayor. You've moved on now at this point, so I'm happy enough for you to do so. Thank you.
Sincere apologies, John. Thank you. Councillor Neil, you haven't agreed?
No,
position, so
yeah,
if you
like
want
I
to-
just thought this was kind of more distinct from the main proposal, but I'm happy if Councillor Edwards is happy. I had kind of discussed another amendment with him in that proposal, but I'm happy to add this to his notice of motion if he's okay with that.
That's when we come to that point of the notice of motion. Yeah, thank you. Okay, right, we will move on from there. The monthly planning committee held on Wednesday, the 11th of January.
Right, Deputy Mayor, I just wanted to come in on that same item on another topic. Apologies, I did say when I came in earlier. If that's okay, Angela. Is that all right? Just on strategic and infrastructure. Deputy Mayor, it would be remiss for myself, given that I live along the A5, not to mention the meeting that was held in Gavahi on Monday night regarding the A5's Throne GA's Enough campaign for the full completion of the A5 Western Transport Corridor scheme. Myself and Councillor Barr beside me went to that meeting. We heard from all the families, Deputy Mayor. We've heard about the horrible impact each and every single death has on both on families and on the wider community. We heard from Kevin Hughes, who lost her brother and his sister along the old A4. We heard from Peter Dolan from Omagh, who sadly lost his son Enda in Belfast. And we heard from Kate Corrigan, who lost his son last Christmas along the A5, just at the Kellys Inn Junction. Deputy Mayor, 44 people have lost their lives on the A5. That has to be the most dangerous road in Ireland, and it is vitally, vitally important that we get this vital road infrastructure upgraded soon. Information I have from the Department of Infrastructure is that the A5 upgrade will save 19 lives, prevent 2,000 collisions and 2,700 injuries over a 60-year period. And Deputy Mayor, I'm not going to make a proposal now. I'm going to leave it to the relevant committee, but I do want to put on record that it is vitally important that this council engages, given that we have no executive in Stormont, no infrastructure minister in place, which is a very, very sad situation to be in. I think it is incumbent that we as a council engage with the Secretary of State on fully upgrading the A5 road, and we also engage with the Permanent Secretary for the Department of Infrastructure. Deputy Mayor, too many people have lost their lives on this road. There was a significant number of families there who have been impacted on Monday night in Gavahi, and hearing their stories was very, very humbling. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards, for that. All right, now, once again, monthly planning committee held on Wednesday, the 11th of January, pages 95 to 108.
So proposed.
Thank you. Alderman Breslin. Second, please, Councillor Sean Mooney. For accuracy, yeah. Matters arising. Okay, moving on. The reconvened planning committee held on Thursday, the 12th of January, pages 109 to 114. Proposed by Councillor Mooney.
I'll
Second. Councillor Breslin. Matters arising. Thank you. Monthly Assurance Audit and Risk Committee held on the 16th of January, pages 115 to 126.
Proposed for accuracy, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Dott. Second by Councillor McKinney. Matters arising? Nope. Monthly Business and Culture Committee held on Tuesday, the 17th of January.
Opposed.
So proposed by Councillor Jackson, seconded by Councillor Heaney. Matters arising?
Just, sorry, in terms of accuracy, I've put my hand up.
Okay.
It's BC 523. It was our discussion about Invest NI and, the recent review of its operations. I know we have a motion on it, but in the minutes, it's saying that I quoted certain figures about job creation in Derry and Strabane versus Belfast, and they're not strictly accurate. You know, in the minutes, it's saying that there was 1,157 jobs created in Belfast last year, when the actual figure was 500 more. It's 1,657 jobs. So I think that should be amended to reflect the reality, because we don't want historians looking back on these figures and saying, what were they crying about? And, you know, reaching the same conclusion as Sammy Wilson, that we're all whingers and whiners. Thank you.
And that was proposed by yourself, Councillor Amy. Sorry about that. Sorry, go ahead, Councillor Cusack.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. It's just matters arising, BC 923. It was just in relation to, it was a motion I submitted to Council in April 2 years ago, and I was requesting for the inclusion of film in the name and strategy of the Business and Culture Department. And when I questioned about that at the committee, the officers stated that a significant budget would be required in order to do that, and they had made requests for additional resources, and that had been submitted to the rates process, and that had been done for the past 2 years. Chair, to the detail and request of these finances, to my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, Stephen, has never been brought before the committee, so we have no details. And the reason I'm making a point of this is I have a considerable amount of people asking me, where has this motion gone, because they were quite excited about it at the time, and where are we with the developments, and I'd like to give them an answer as to why we haven't progressed. Because we have production companies coming and saying, where is the council on this? So if we could get that information either to the relevant committee or even sent to members, just so we can look through and see the structure of why this is a hurdle, and actually they having this, you know, here with us now. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cusack, and I'm sure that will go to the relevant committee. Thank you very much. Number 9, or G, Monthly Environment and Regeneration Committee held on Wednesday, the 18th of January.
I'll propose it, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor McGinley, and second by Councillor Maeve Neal. Matters arising? Okay, Maeve.
Yeah, so I just wanted to raise the issue of my boy, which, you know, we discuss every month, obviously, at Environment and Regeneration. And as was highlighted last week, the BBC4 podcast series, Buried, you know, has been released this week, and it's sent further shockwaves, I think, across the local community here, as we're reminded about the horror at my boy. Like any time this scandal is discussed in the public, it's always greeted with horror. And, you know, many people have said this is a ticking time bomb, and it affects the health of people in the local community here, but also the health of the ecosystems that surround my boy, particularly the River Faughan, the Atlantic salmon, and its otters. And I've heard a lot of people over, you know, since the podcast was released, about how could this have happened. But this nightmare was allowed to happen because of failures in our planning system and failures in our environmental regulatory systems. And unfortunately, my boy is like a symptom of a much bigger problem. And this scandal can't remain buried. And I feel that this council, we need to reiterate our call for a full public inquiry into my boy. I think we owe a massive debt of gratitude as a council to campaigners such as Dicey and Paul up there, and others who have been relentless in their campaign for justice for my boy. And we've heard the voices of many other committed campaigners within the podcast. And I think, of course, a special mention, obviously, to the late Joe Ferguson, who, you know, until his dying day, was committed to actually telling the story of my boy. And also a thank you to the investigative journalists, Dan Ashby and Lucy Taylor, who have been so committed in telling the story. And I think, you know, one thing that was uncovered from this podcast was the summary report of the Ombudsman's investigation. It completed under the department's mishandling of Kempsey Sand and Gravel's extractions at my boy, which I shared with members at Environment and Regeneration last week and with officers. And, you know, this council should write to the Ombudsman to get the full copy of that report so we can learn the full scale of the lessons that we need to learn. Another issue was the unauthorised development that was allowed to happen. And, you know, the department, you know, in media responses have said that, you know, since that, they trained 200 planners as a result of the learnings from that. But what they didn't say was that they hadn't been applying the EIA regs for decades and that this training wasn't a voluntary move. If the department had not delivered this training, they would have faced formal infringement proceedings by the European Commission after the Faughan anglers lodged a complaint to Europe because of systemic planning failures on the Faughan. So one of the big questions is, have we learnt lessons from Maboy since planning powers have come to council? But I'm not sure that we have, because concerned citizens have continued to raise breaches of the EIA regulations with senior officials of this council since 2015, and planners here were still breaching the EIA regs even after a reprimand from Mr Justice McCluskey in 2018. Maboy is still there. Maboy is still a threat to health and no one has been held to account yet. And we still have lessons to learn, which is why we need a public inquiry and why we need the full report from the Ombudsman so this never happens again. So I've just got 3 asks, 3 letters, that's all, from the to propose. In the response from the NIEA in this month's report, they said that they submitted an environmental impact report to the courts to assist the judge. So, you know, one of the proposals is for the council to write the NIEA, who we write every month, to ask for that report, for this council to write to the Ombudsman for the full copy of the investigation and that it completed, and also to write to the Secretary of State to ask for the public inquiry to happen under the Public Affairs or the Public Inquiry law that I've written down here. Public Inquiries Act 2005, sorry. So I'll just send that to Teresa.
Happy to second.
That's seconded by Councillor Ferguson. Councillor Doyle. Different issue, thank you. Councillor Ferguson, you were looking to get on this.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor, and thank you to Councillor O'Neill for bringing this up. I think the podcast is something I'm just about nearly finished, and I think it's an amazing way to highlight something that a lot of people in the general public don't ask enough questions about Maboy. It's something that I knew of but wasn't aware of until I joined council, and since being on council have been on the stakeholder working group and getting monthly updates. And I think the more and more we hear about it, the more and more we learn. It is scary. I think that the questions here within the ask are completely valid. I think we need more than just a summary note with the Ombudsman's investigation. I think we do need to understand what went wrong there. I think we need the full report that was submitted to the courts, because there's a certain level of secrecy around Maboy, and that was all because of the criminal case and certain things weren't allowed to be said. But I think now that this is done and dusted, it should be completely transparent, and we need to learn from our lessons. We are fully supportive of a public inquiry. We don't agree with Minister Pitts at the time. He said that it wasn't cost effective. I think the only way that we are going to find out where went wrong what went wrong and how we do better is from a full public inquiry. So I'm more than happy, we're more than happy to support this proposal. And I know Karen will probably listen to us for the next couple of months, raising these issues over and over again. And I just want to say again, a huge thanks to the likes of Joe Ferguson, Dean Blackwood, Mary, and Dicey and Paul here who have campaigned when other people weren't listening. And I think this podcast will hopefully highlight the work that they've done over recent years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Online, Councillor Alex Duffy.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just also, I would like to repeat and support what Councillor O'Neill has said regarding the tireless campaign, What Is My Boy Dump? As a Strathfoyle man myself and a neighbour of the Faughan, it is a really pressing matter for many, many people. And I would like to give the thanks to the campaigners, the likes of Paul Hughes and Eamon Dicey O'Donnell, who have been there at the forefront with others. And also just to pay tribute to the late Joe Ferguson that I had in the committee meeting. Being a friend, a family friend of Joe Ferguson's family, I know that now, this moment in time, with the release of the podcast, that it is it's sort of a reigniting that grief for them as well, being able to hear Joe's voice. If anybody's not listened to the podcast yet, I would highly recommend it. The whole thing is written around the testimony of Joe Ferguson and his last remaining hours. He had audio recordings done. It's a very powerful documentary, and as Sinn Féin, we 100% support a public inquiry. And I, as a community activist and supporter of the campaigners and the tireless work they do, also support it as well. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy. Councillor Donnelly.
Good Chair, and I'd like to welcome Paul and Dicey here today and commend them for their continuous efforts to highlight this. Myself and Councillor Carr had met and sat down with the late Joe Ferguson, and he had it was intriguing listening. The reality is, what happened to my boy was a criminal enterprise, and it happened on many levels, and this includes numerous people and cover-ups, and many people would have made a lot of money out of it. And as a result of what happened, future generations will suffer terribly as a result of what can only be described as a greedy criminal enterprise. And anything that can be done to help highlight this or expose the people involved is to be welcomed. So happy to support Councillor O'Neill's proposals. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Donnelly. Alderman Hussey.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and like others, thank Paul and Dicey for the work, the ongoing work that they're involved in. Remind folk indeed that there is a stakeholder group meeting on the 7th of February at 2:30, and I hope elected members will make their presence felt at that meeting. All of those issues with regard to my boy were strange to me because it's way outside my area, but I found myself on that stakeholder group, and it's appalling what has happened on that site and to that community. Sometimes I think it's a bit like an area that, where the mines have been cleared, a pathway, and there are still undiscovered issues on the edges of what has been looked at, and that is extremely worrying. Full transparency has to be obtained within this whole process and within the remediation efforts that are ongoing, and they need to meet the approval of the local community. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Hussey. Councillor Norris.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Of course, we fully support the public inquiry, as we had already requested a public inquiry, and we would have got one if the DUP hadn't come into the position and never give one. I fully support Paul and Dicey for coming here today and for their tireless campaign against my boy. Again, I'm from Strathfoyle myself, live in the area, This is a real personal issue to the people in the area. When you read the report, I think it's a disparity of about 1 million tonnes of waste. That nobody knows. Is it on there? Is it not on there? Is it toxic? Is it not toxic? And this is just feeding on the ground every day. So it really needs sorted out. And I really support the public inquiry.
Thank you for that, councillors. Well, I don't hear any dissenting voices with regard to that, so I will take that as passed unanimously, that proposal. And I would also like to pay tribute, and I didn't hear his name, but to ex-MLA, ex-councillor Eamon McCann, because I know that without Eamon, we wouldn't have my boy into this chamber. So I'd like to pay tribute to him. So moving on. The monthly meeting of Health and Communities Committee held on Thursday, the 19th of January.
Sorry, Deputy Mayor, I had an issue under ER. Thanks. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. It's ER09, bilingual signage. I don't know if everybody had maybe been contacted by Mr. Tom Cosgrove around our policy with regards to the percentage of residents that needed to sign off on bilingual signage, but I know myself and Sinn Féin Councillor Dan Kelly did. I understand that at the moment that that motion was passed a fair while ago, and there were initial issues around access to the electoral register, which caused a problem. And then an EQIA had to be carried out. Can we get an update as to what exactly is going on with this? Because as far as I was aware, once it was passed by us, it should have been implemented in that regard. So can I just get a bit of an update on that, please? Thank you.
Yeah, through you, Chair. Members, the officers, as you outlined, have been working through a range of issues in relation to this, and indeed considering the potential costs of implementing the policy. We are due to bring that an update report to members in terms of how the policy could be implemented, and seek members' views on that. So I will check with the officers when that's ready to come into committee, but it will be very soon. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for that, Karen. Okay, Emma, thank you. Alderman Hussey.
Mayor, just to thank Karen for her response there. As members will know, I have been waiting for costings on the programme, and I welcome that those will be forthcoming. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Now, the last is Health and Community Committee held Thursday, 19th. Can I have a proposer and seconder? Councillor Edwards. Councillor Farrell, thank you. Matters arising, and I have Alderman Devaney.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, for allowing me in on this issue and around the Ryan McBride Stadium. I suppose, Deputy Mayor, there were quite a number of issues raised and around the stadium. And look, one of the issues was in around health and safety of the stadium with the 3G pitches, because of UEFA have set up a working group to investigate the safety of 3G pitches. Now, I've talked to, and even the language that it may be dangerous, these pitches. I've talked to a number of people within the sport, and I can tell you, they would be in heaven if they could get a 3G pitch, but we are where we're at. And look, when you look at the UEFA working group that's been set up, even it takes a year or 2 years to make that decision. There's a 6-year transitional period then for those clubs who may want to change over to grass pitch. And the other concern, Deputy Mayor, was in around the clawback. We all know there was in excess of £900,000 in funding from OFM, DFM, and it was from the SIF fund. And look, if we were to move fairly quickly on this, that there would be a clawback. We weren't just sure how much of that 900,000 would have to be paid out. So if we were to have to pay it all back, we would be 900,000 down before we start. And I think, Chair, Deputy Mayor, it's all about managing expectations and around what council may be able to do. And around this, we all know we're going through rich processes, and we live in hope that maybe down the road things will get better. But at the moment, it would be very, very difficult. And look, it's very, very good to see. And look, the issue and around that the club are going to fund, design, and construct a new covered area for usage within the stadium. And that has to be welcome news, because not so long ago, when we were in discussions and around when the stadium opened, arrears from the club, their chairman then, Mr. Doherty, did say that if funding didn't cut, or the gate money didn't keep continuing, that you know, they could fall out of the league, or you know, come out of that professional end of it. But thankfully they haven't. They have been very, very successful on the pitch. And I think that has been mentioned quite a number of times through the chamber and at different committees. And it's good to see the finances here is in fairly good shape now, that they're proposing to fund and design and construct part of the area for more people to attend. I do have some concerns around it, as you know, if this was to go ahead, and I'm sure it'll be all in the minutiae as we go forward, you know, maintenance and you know, it's taking ownership of that then, and how we manage all and around that, and health and safety. But I have to say, it's good to see them moving in the right direction. Want to just make it very, very clear that around the health and safety issue or dangerous pitch, our council officer, Barry O'Hagan, made it very, very clear that the stadium has been checked out for this year and there are no health and safety concerns. Just the other thing, so Downer, and you know, and around Derry City, earlier on in September, Deputy Mayor, I proposed that we write to Derry City regarding untastely chanting that went on at one of the football matches in Shamrock Rover, at a Shamrock Rovers match in the Brandywell, and around it. And it was in around the time Her Majesty the Queen had passed away, and it was very, very distasteful. And I had requested that we write to Derry City. And look, I think I'm asking John, have we had any feedback from that? And I know that proposal went forward especially in our meeting in September, but I'm aware there was a bit of a delay in getting that letter out, but I'm sure they have received it by now. And I'm just wondering, John, has there been any feedback from that in relation to the concerns that were raised and around that match that day, John?
Chair, through you, the letter has most definitely gone out, albeit, as Alderman Devaney has indicated, there was a slight delay in that. I'm not aware of having received a response as of yet. Ellen, have you any update on that? No, not as yet. Alderman Devaney.
Thank you, John, for that.
Alderman Devaney, I'm sure that the officers concerned will get back to you ASAP. They will hunt that down and see what's happening.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Can I move on to Councillor Edwards?
Deputy Mayor, thank you, and I'll keep it very, very brief. I've been approached by the charity Life After to present at the Health and Community Committee, and I've been informed by the head of the directorate that there is a position available for them to give a deputation in February. So I'd just like to formally propose that Life After present to the Health and Community Committee. I've been asked to raise it today at today's meeting just to get it formally proposed.
Thank you for that, and that's been seconded by Councillor Jason Barr. No objections, folks. Thank you. So we'll move on from there. Alderman Hussey.
It's back to the Brandywell pitch, Deputy Mayor. The two issues there are the grounds infrastructure. Sorry. The grounds infrastructure and the second issue is the pitch specification. And it's with regard to the pitch specification, we have ongoing projects such as via levelling up in Castleberg Mitchell Park with their proposal for 3G pitch. And I think just to ask or to hope, and I'm sure they are, to trust that officers are mindful of changing pitch specification requirements from the various governing bodies going forward, because I would hate to think, that a pitch would be put down in Castleberg or anywhere else within the district council area that would be deemed by a governing body in a couple of years' time, that doesn't meet our specifications because of health and safety reasons or whatever. We're just mindful of that. Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and apologies if I'm too loud.
Well, it's not that you weren't too loud, it was the feedback that was coming from that. Right, folks, so that's that. We are going to take a break. I need a comfort break.
You're the boss.
So, look, I'm just conscious it's going on to 4:30. How about if we come back here and we will start again at 20 minutes to 5? That's 10 minutes. That's longer than what you would have been given at 4 o'clock. But before you go, I need a proposal to go into confidential. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. And whenever we come back, we just go straight on it. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Mayor Stalin.